All right, so we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today for the International Women Month special LinkedIn Live. I'm your host, Hasti, and today we are going to be talking about women empowerment in the Salesforce ecosystem. Before we begin, I will share a few pro tips for the smooth functioning of the session. This session is going to be recorded, so you can revisit our YouTube channel at your ease. If you're facing any issues like difficulty loading the session, click on the event link and refresh the page, and you should be good to go. If you're unable to view the broadcast on LinkedIn, we recommend using or visiting our YouTube channel, our Twitter handle, as it is being broadcasted on these two social media platforms alongside LinkedIn. Today, we have an exceptionally great social impact leader with us, Cherise Wang Liu. Cherise is actively building a community for women in tech and empowering hundreds of women in their career development. She is a Salesforce MVP and a nonprofit expert, apart from being a co leader of Salesforce community projects focused on diversity and inclusion in tech. We will be talking about her journey, women empowerment, gender bias, diversity and inclusivity, and help initiate conversations to break the bias. Meanwhile, if you have any questions for our speaker, please post them in the comment section, and please give her please give her a huge shout out as to from where you belong. All right. So, without any further ado, let's begin. Welcome to our LinkedIn Live, Cherise. Thank you for joining us today. I'm super thrilled to be speaking to you. How are you?
Thanks so much for having me, Hasti. It's great to be here. I'm calling in from Washington, D.C.
That's amazing. Could you please share some insights into your journey thus far and what motivated you to initiate such exemplary work that you have undertaken so far and you're still pursuing?
Sure. One of the things that I really enjoy about tech and especially the Salesforce ecosystem at this time is that it's really accessible to career transitioners. And I fall into that category. I did it a long time ago, but I still consider myself a career transitioner. I didn't go to college for computer science or start out studying tech. I started by creating a youth development nonprofit, and when the journey of that nonprofit ended, I found myself wanting to try something new. And I had an affinity for tech. And I had set up Salesforce at my nonprofit, a very small one, in 2007. And so I started doing independent consulting and really found a supportive community in the Salesforce Trailblazer community, and the user groups were amazing. I went and joined my local DC user group, and was so welcomed. Even as an introvert, I volunteered to help lead it eventually, which developed my leadership skills and helped me broaden my Salesforce network. And so that was the start of my Salesforce journey. And I've really been empowered by seeing so many women succeed in the space and set great examples. And I'm just constantly looking for ways to pay it forward. And, the pandemic has really been difficult for women, especially. And, more flexible work is needed, more remote work, and the tech sector is a great way to achieve that. So I'm looking to help as many women as possible really kind of succeed in tech and start a new career if that's something they're looking to do.
Wow, that's so inspiring. I mean, starting your own independent consultancy and then kind of transitioning into Salesforce and now having a vision to support so many women is truly, truly inspiring. And I'm really amazed by your journey and by your vision both. When I was kind of checking out your profile on LinkedIn, the first thing that caught my eye immediately was, I mean, apart from all the wonderful achievements that you have, was the timeline picture that you've put. And it speaks volumes because in that one single frame, you can literally see the diversity and inclusion that you advocate for and that you stand for. So I think you just walk your talk, and it's just a beautifully captured image. And it felt so good after seeing that picture. So thank you for putting that up.
I love that picture too. And it's from one of my favorite Salesforce community-led conferences. So for those who are new to the ecosystem, there are conferences organized and led by volunteers. You could be next. Um, and this one is called Witness Success. It's a conference for women in the Salesforce ecosystem. I'll put the link in the event chat. And it's amazing. I think it's happening in July this year, and it happens in different locations. It's amazing for networking, for getting contacts, for upping your job search. It's absolutely fantastic. It has a combination of um, kind of career soft skills sessions about public speaking, negotiating a higher salary, but also combined with technical skills. So you'll often hear from women who have become technical architects or solution architects and learn about their journey and how you can follow in the path that they're trailblazing. So that's definitely my favorite Dream In event so far. Another one I'm really looking forward to is Dreamin' in Color, which is happening this year for the first time. But yeah, that picture that you're referencing is from a Witness Success event. And it's a picture of everyone kind of from the DC area and beyond who attended that conference. So I highly encourage folks to try to join, and we'll be looking to kind of expand it too. I'm hoping it can become hybrid in the future. But if you can't make it, definitely check out the Women in Tech. They're called WIT groups, WIT, that exist all over the world in the Salesforce ecosystem. So if you go to trailblazercommunitygroups.com, all of those groups are online, and a lot of them are still virtual. In fact, the DC group that I'm a part of is having an amazing event next month. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. And it's on managing boundaries in the workplace and your mental health, and creating a workplace from an employee standpoint that you can thrive in, instead of feeling stressed all the time, or like you can't be your best self or succeed. It's important to for women to support each other, to seek out allies, so that we're not trying to bear the burden of thriving and contributing our best all the time.
I mean, that's such an amazing initiative. For people who are listening, Cherise have already posted two links in the comment section. Please check them out. I'm sure going to be a part of the virtual event. Um, and I think this is wonderful, Cherise. It gives a lot of opportunity to people, especially women in the professional domain. And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely my favorite part of the Salesforce ecosystem is the community. Salesforce has an expansive product. They've made major acquisitions, but when you're looking at going into a Salesforce career versus other technology, one of the kind of more mature aspects and benefits of Salesforce is the community, and there are a lot of amazing, inspiring women So it's great. It's great to go out and meet them. So again, even as an introvert, they're just such amazing women that I'm even going to events, leading events myself, because it's just a great experience. And I'm always enriched by the other women I meet. So I encourage everyone to kind of, even if you're shy, just try to introduce yourself. If you go to a meeting, one of these virtual meetings at a Women in Tech Salesforce group, share your story. You know, even if it's painful, those WIT groups are safe spaces. So if you were laid off, you know, it's not, that's a point that other people are going to be able to resonate with, right? I think everyone's been laid off at one point in their career, especially if they've been working for a while. And, you know, your story and your challenges will inspire other women to help lift you up. So I encourage you to share, even if it's a challenge. Being your authentic self will really help others help you.
That's wonderful. I think even if you are an introvert or even if you are shy, uh, this is only going to help you better yourselves and network around to make great connections with people who are doing so much in their respective careers. So I think everybody should check this out. Cherise, since you advocate for women in tech alongside working with nonprofits, I want to know what are the top challenges today nonprofits are facing while transitioning into the digital tech?
Sure. Well, I think that a lot of the challenges nonprofits were facing, they were kind of forced to address them sooner than they were prepared to with the pandemic, and going more digital first. I think nonprofits often might not be able to have talent that is very technical to begin with. That's not always true, but a lot of times, you know, nonprofits will um, have a great vision and passion, and not necessarily the tools or the training to um, measure their impact, right, through their data. So that's where I see Salesforce coming in as a helpful tool, not in all circumstances, because not all nonprofits can handle an enterprise tool like Salesforce. So there's always kind of a word of caution there, because depending on the size and what volunteers or staff the nonprofit has, that can come into play. But I would say, as far as challenges, a lot of the challenges for nonprofits are similar to the rest of the companies and organizations worldwide, which is talent, um, and talent that can help them manage their data and their digital transformations is key. So, you know, if you are working at a nonprofit and have nonprofit experience and want to transition into tech, I highly recommend looking for a nonprofit that uses Salesforce or a similar technology that you want to learn, and you know, diving into that. A lot of times you can get a role at a nonprofit just through a willingness to learn and teach yourself, and again, utilize the community, right? When I was learning my first year as an independent consultant, I shadowed a lot of people who knew what they were doing, and help them on their projects. So I recommend kind of doing something similar to the degree that you can, and you know, always just trying to follow best practices, so that nonprofits are left in a better place than when you started helping them.
Yes, that's exactly um like right, because nonprofits need a lot of help with the technology. Not that they don't have technology now with the digital first world. Every nonprofit most of the nonprofits have access to good technology, but like you said, depending on the size, not every nonprofit can afford Salesforce. But that's when the Salesforce partners or the startups come into play, like Affian. So even we provide services to nonprofits at reasonable rates. So and like you said, leaving the nonprofit better than you started is a wonderful vision to have. And kudos to you. I mean, you are doing such an amazing job. And yes, please
Yeah.
go.
Sorry, I was wanted to add that anyone who's looking to help nonprofits, especially if you're actually at any point in your Salesforce journey, whether you're a complete beginner or you're an expert, whether you're a developer or a project manager, a way to help nonprofits in a really responsible manner, um, like as part of a team of Salesforce professionals, is through the salesforce.org open source commons project, which creates apps that are open source for nonprofits to use for free. And we develop them in collaboration with like engineers and staff from salesforce.org.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's really exciting. There are about 3 to 4 events a year that we call sprints.
Okay.
And I'm going to post the link to the page to learn about it. You can participate from anywhere in the world, and the projects often go year round. It's amazing. So, like, you can learn about GitHub, even if you're not a developer. Again, you don't have to code. You can do documentation, and you can learn about nonprofits, the Nonprofit Success Pack, which nonprofits use, um, and it's like a fantastic experience. So I'm going to send the link to the one project, which is called Open Source DEI. And on this page, it's a new page. Anytime that there's a big sprint event, I think the next one is coming up in early May, I will post the registration link. And it's free. It's usually over the course of 2 days, like 2 half days. And if you can't get away from work and you can just come in from the beginning and learn about it, that's fine. Anybody's welcome to come for any period of time. It's really welcoming. And again, everyone joins from all over the world. They're still virtual now. So it's a lot of fun. I encourage everyone to check it out.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I mean, this is a completely new piece of information for me as well, and I'm definitely going to check this out. Thank you, Cherise, for letting us know about this wonderful information. Um, moving on to our next question. As a co-leader of Salesforce community projects, and an ally for diversity and inclusion for women in tech, um, you decided to empower and support over 200 women in the career development. How do you do this, and why do you feel the need to pursue this so passionately?
So the question about how I do it is really not by myself. It's with lots of other amazing volunteers. So I kind of shifted from one-on-one mentoring to trying to mentor more women last year. And I started having group text messages, and I would post on LinkedIn for volunteers saying, can anyone help with resume review or a mock interview? And I realized that that system was kind of working. It was very ad hoc, wasn't really planned out. I was just trying to um, manage requests as they came in. I was with a family member in the hospital, and so I found myself on a lot more Twitter spaces because I couldn't really do a lot of work productively in the hospital, but I wanted to occupy my mind. And so I joined Twitter Spaces about tech with a lot of job seekers. And especially on one of them, I think in September, it was a Twitter space, and someone asked a question: how do I consider a Salesforce career? And there were hundreds of people in the Twitter space, and the speaker wasn't sure, but she scrolled through the attendees of the Twitter space and said, "Oh, you can ask Cherise." So pretty soon, I just had hundreds of DMs in Twitter, and that that really prompted me to try to figure out how to do things in a more scalable way. It's still a work in progress, but a number of other women really came together and said, yeah, let's try to do something where we can have a community and have women support each other, and allies are welcome. So we kind of created this community called Gems in Tech. And I'll also post a link to that because anyone is welcome. And yeah, it's really great. We share jobs with each other. Again, help each other with resume reviews, mock interviews, salary negotiations. We help each other through challenging work situations. And talk through pros and cons of different career paths. And, if you're thinking to yourself, is consulting right for me? Is that what I'm looking for? Like, what is the day in the life of a Salesforce project manager look like? Things like that. I think just lost 1 second. I'll be right back.
Sure, no problem. Okay, meanwhile, Cherise is back. You can ask or post any questions you have for her in the comment section, and we will be answering them at the end of this live. And you can get all the questions answered by Cherise herself.
Okay, let's see if I can get my camera back here. There we go.
She is.
There we go. My dog was playing with a new toy, and his toy bounced on the power strip.
Oh, wow.
So that was an unexpected technical issue. Yes. So thanks. I'm back now.
Okay.
So we were talking about, yes, Gems in Tech.
Yes.
So I'll post the link there. And it's one of many. There are all sorts of amazing communities like we've been talking about. There's especially new ones like Healthcare Heroes, I think, that Lori started. And if one doesn't exist for like what you're interested in the Salesforce ecosystem or in tech in general, I always encourage folks to start their own, because if you have questions, if you're struggling with something, I can guarantee you there are other women out there who feel the same, and you'll be able to form your own community, and that's really powerful, and that can really propel your career too.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the way you said, um, joining a community will help everybody in an holistic manner. Like you said, there's resume preparations or interview preparation, salary negotiation. If somebody is having any sort of challenges, they can share it, and there's a whole community to back them up and help them. That's the beauty of a community. And thank you for posting this Gems in Tech link here. I would recommend everybody to go through this. And yes, so the second part of the question is, why do you feel the need to pursue this so passionately?
For me personally, it's very rewarding, and I believe that the tech as a sector will be better off. Companies will become more profitable. Um, the workplaces will become better for employees with the more that the tech sector is diversified. So especially the more women of color that exist in all roles, and hopefully eventually leadership. That's really going to be key to making better products, again, increasing profitability, and it's the next digital transformation is affecting all businesses. So all businesses are eventually going to be tech companies to a degree. When you think about it, these digital skills and these technical skills and tech adjacent skills, even if they're not coding, are really the next wave of the workforce. So having women succeed in that is just really close to my heart. It's helped me pave a career that I didn't foresee for myself. In college, I studied international peace and conflict resolution. And then I founded a youth development nonprofit. And so helping others has really always been core to what is fulfilling to me in my career. And doing that at a bigger scale through the tech industry is what I'm really excited about. Um, Helping families led by women, especially creating generational wealth that didn't exist before, is incredibly exciting to me, right? Because that's just opens up doors to all sorts of things, like socio-political wise. Like, it's just can be a great platform for change. So I just think it's exciting on a lot of levels, and in the day to day, it's empowering to me. I get back. I get just as much as I give. Especially from the amazing women I get to meet, from you, like every single woman I meet, I learn, um, and I get enriched by as well. So it's fun and it's exciting and it's really rewarding.
Very well said. Actually, I really appreciate that. You know, this is giving you so much. Um, like it is giving you so much because you are giving back, right? And it's a kind of a give and take relation. But more than that, because you're so passionate about this, um, I think it brings a different kind of joy to witness so many women flourish, and so many women at a leadership level, uh, and achieving so much. So I think all in all, it's tech for good. So that's what we are here for.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, so, like going back to my question, what are the core reasons behind gender disparity, and how can we solve it? And what, according to you, the companies and the organizations should do to build a diverse and equal culture?
Well, this is a heavy question that I'm not sure I'm qualified to answer, but one of the things that I see companies doing that's always a good first step is trying and not being afraid to try. Um, and really holding up the mirror and saying, okay, um, we are what we are, and we're going to try to do better. And, surveying staff is a great start. Um, to ask in an anonymous way, do people feel valued? Do they feel safe bringing their concerns, expressing their feedback? And, you know, I think the core reasons behind gender disparity are really rooted in a lot. You know, we have a patriarchal society that influences a lot of how women are perceived in the workplace, and continues to affect their roles that they're perceived as being good at or not. And I think, you know, if we just continue to have employers that are wanting to do better, and really believing the research and the evidence that having a more diverse workforce, especially diverse leadership, is going to make their business, their company, stronger and more profitable. The faster they catch on to that, the faster that some of the biases in the workplace will start to dissolve. So that's a big role that allies can play, and really embracing the fact that the gender bias is there and it exists, instead of saying, oh, it's not really a problem, you know, women can do whatever they want, you know, if they just set their mind to it. um, yes, that's possible to a degree, but there's still bias that affects everyone. So um, I think that, you know, building a more equitable work culture is really based on trying to do better, um, setting goals for progress, even if it's incremental, especially around compensation to start with. That's like a pretty straightforward one, right? Figure out if you're paying women the same that you're paying men for the same work. Um,
Yeah.
so, because as we know, um, overall, that's still not the case, unfortunately. So that's a great starting point for companies.
Yes, and like you said, the core reasons behind the disparity is rooted and ingrained in our culture, and we are conditioned in a way to think, um, and make, like, create a different image when it comes to the gender. Like, a male should get more money, or a female shouldn't get as much salary. So and like you rightly said, acknowledging that this exists and working on that is something that every organization should do, right from the employing people of color and people with diverse cultures and backgrounds. And I think that is going to uh, make a huge difference and benefit the organizations, because ultimately everybody has something new to bring to the table.
Exactly.
Okay, so Chaviz, do you think somewhere in this even men have some role to play, um, in creating an equal culture, like in the workspace as well as in the house?
Of course, yes, allies have a significant role. Uh, you know, there are, I would say that allies, men, can ask the women who are in their network, or in their workplace, how they can support them, right? And
Yes.
they don't have to guess, they can just ask. And, you know, that can be everything from maybe sharing their salary, um, to, you know, helping give credit in meetings and on projects. If a woman isn't receiving proper credit, making sure that's taking place, and being a sponsor. So um, that means sharing a woman's name in rooms that she may not be in, as a candidate for promotion or a candidate for a leadership role, and really understanding what female and non-binary colleagues bring to the workplace, so that they can be a sponsor, and really know their strengths, if they're not present in a conversation, especially at a leadership level.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say, it's different in cultures all around the world, especially in more domestic roles. Um, but we have seen a number of studies that have been really disconcerting from the pandemic, showing that women continued and faced an increasing burden, with home and childcare responsibilities, um, which has been really discouraging to see. But I'm hoping that men can continue to strive to kind of address that and step up and take some of that pressure away, so that women can be more active about returning to the workplace, since so many have dropped out during the pandemic.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, just asking um, the question, the right kind of questions makes a lot of difference. And dividing the household chores, or recommending a woman's name for a leadership role or for a promotion, or sharing the salary for doing the same kind of work, these are small things but with huge impact. And that's how things will be can change from like going forward. So yes, very well said, and that's an amazing insight to how we can break this cultural gender disparity.
Definitely. And just a plug for the Gems and Tech community. We really welcome male allies as volunteers. So if you want to help for an hour, or on a regular basis, anyone's welcome to come and help, again, with those resume reviews, mock interviews, um, a mock salary negotiation for promotion. We have women entering the Salesforce ecosystem and other tech roles, as well as women trying to level up, from kind of the junior to mid-level, or mid-level to senior level roles. So that's a great place to come and give your time. And allies are always welcome to start there.
That's wonderful. I'm definitely going to check your website after this and contribute in any way I can.
That sounds amazing. Everyone's welcome. Would love to have you.
So, we have been talking a lot about, since this is International Women's Month, and we have spoken at a huge length about all the challenges that women in general are facing today. I want to ask you, what stereotyped hurdles do women face because of their gender? And have you personally faced anything so far in your journey?
So I have, yes. I would say that one of probably a key reason and driver that makes me so passionate about helping um, other women and men who women and individuals who are not men, is that early in my career, in my 20s, I created a nonprofit organization. And in the US, you have a board of directors. And I, as a young woman leader, I did not have the female mentors that I should have had to help me navigate some very challenging um, scenarios that were really rooted in some gender and power dynamics. And as a young woman leader, I just assumed that anything that went wrong was my fault. And I think that can be a common thought to kind of get stuck in, right? Um, and just being, I assumed full responsibility instead of saying, well, There were people who I was trusting and relied upon to help this organization thrive. Um, and Instead of supporting me in ways that they should have been, they really kind of um, tried to take some shortcuts and didn't do what was best for me or the organization. Um, and that was really painful to go through, right? Especially without a mentor. And so I really want to make sure that any women who are, um, putting themselves out there, trying to like create a new career and succeed, if they need help or want help, that they can get it regardless of their income. In the US, hiring executive coaches, getting you support you need, if you can pay, is, readily available. But there are a lot of people who can't pay, and we need to be a community for each other. Um, and help each other. So um, I would say that yes, there have been a number of situations. Even though I'm obviously like a white female, I have a lot of privilege. So there's so much discrimination that I don't have to deal with at all. Uh, but especially being a younger woman, there were scenarios that were a big struggle to go through. Um, So, I'm really hoping that going forward, there are a lot of things I'm seeing with women in the workplace now, especially with women in the U.S. who are immigrants, who have, names that maybe sound more like an immigrant's name stereotypically might sound than someone who is white. um, I'm seeing real issues with them getting interviews, right? And so that's where allies and sponsors come into play. It's really important. So allies stepping up and volunteering and getting to know these women, and so they can say, "Hey, I vouch for her. Like she's amazing." Um,
Yes.
like, uh, which shouldn't be necessary, but it still is, right? Um, so I'm looking forward to like just continuing to build positive community so that we can just try to overcome the issues that do exist. Um, it's not creating systemic change by any stretch of the imagination, but it's trying to make a better situation for what we have now, um, which can lead to bigger and better things.
Yes, and thank you for sharing your personal experience. I mean, it can get really hard when you are young and naive and you just started something, and to get into the conflict where power dynamics and the corporate politics and everything is involved. It's really difficult to navigate when you're so young without a mentor. So I think what you are doing right now and the community that you have built um, is going to help and have helped so many individuals. Um, so that's really amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited to continue to see like these various communities grow, and you know, it's it's a great start. And I think the only thing we can do is say, are we making tomorrow better for some people? And I think the answer is definitely yes to that. So, um, it's a great start.
Yes, definitely. Making change one day at a time, one person at a time is huge impact.
Yes.
All right. So I think we are going to take some questions, but before that, thank you for so much for a wholesome conversation today. I'm sure all our audiences enjoyed it as much as I did while listening to your wonderful insights and your initiatives. So there's a little something that I'm going to share about us. So we are Affians. We are a registered Salesforce partner, and we work with some really noteworthy clients and organizations globally. We are also hiring for multiple roles. So if you're interested in working with us, please send in your CV and your applications through our website portal, or you can drop us an email at careers@affians.com. Now we have received so many questions from audiences, Cherise, that it's time to take some questions from them. So our first question is from um, okay, so it's from Madhuparna Das Paul. As a career transformer and a newbie in this ecosystem, what would be the employee's expectation from you to bring into the table? Do they really consider you as an enthusiastic learner or expect that you know everything?
I think that's a great question to ask in the interview process. I would say that no employer is going to expect someone who's junior or new to know everything. Even an experienced Salesforce professional doesn't know everything about the platform. It's so massive. There's so many products at this point within the platform that it's impossible. If someone says they're an expert in everything Salesforce, I would struggle to believe them. So the great thing that you can bring are your transferable skills. So if you're great at speaking with clients, if you're a good active listener, and you can take excellent, clear notes while you're in a meeting with a client, those are really valuable skills to pretty much any employer in the tech space. So yeah, focus on your transferable skills, the industry that you're coming from, and you can really tap into some high value there, so that you're not just starting out as a beginner. You're really bringing your past experience to the table.
Yes. And I also want to say that when you're a newbie, I mean, it's okay, you don't have too much of the subject specific knowledge, but those are the hard skills. But there are some soft skills that you can master, like teamwork or leadership skills or communication skills. These will go a very long way. So, yes, these are some skills to look for. Hope that answers your questions, Madhuparna. So we have another question from Anum Shahid. Um, how do you think employer judge someone with a career change or gap in the career, and what are helpful tips to overcome that?
I love this question. Um, so since there's a talent shortage in throughout tech, and it's just going to continue. And this has forced employers to be more, and HR departments and recruiters to be more understanding of gaps. And I would say that acknowledging it, calling it out in your resume as a career pause for caregiving, is typically what I would recommend, because caregiving can be taking care of yourself, it can be taking care of your family, um, and that covers kind of a lot without having to get into specifics. And I find that most employers respect that, right? And if they don't, they should probably be avoided anyways. um, so I would say that, yeah, call it out, include it, especially if your resume is chronological, which is still the standard and pretty, expected from most employers. Um, so I would say that it's not a detriment or counted against you anymore. Um, and you don't need to explain it in detail. Just say, it was for caregiving, or whatever kind of broad term can describe what you feel like was your experience.
Yes, I think that can be done, and sometimes interviewer will ask questions like, "So, what have you done in that period?" And you can kind of say that you have taken up some courses. That I mean, you can actually take up short courses while you are on a career gap, so which will showcase that you are still a very keen learner and you are ready to learn. So that's something that you can do.
Yes, but even if you can't, it's not a problem.
Yes. Okay, so we have a question from Jackie Moloko. How have you maintained the well-being in a transitioning roles and still being innovative and starting up non-profit organizations?
So I think this is asking, hopefully I'm understanding this correctly. I think this is asking how I maintain my well-being,
Yes.
and
Yes.
myself. And so it's all about pouring from a full cup. So it it's really about um, giving back always entails that you understand yourself and what you need to have what I call, a full cup first.
Yes.
Um, so because you can't pour from an empty cup. And um, one of the things that I spent a lot of time doing in my late 20s and early 30s, I'm now 40, uh, was learning about myself and what needs I have so that I don't burn out and I know what I need. And it's a delicate balance and it takes time to learn. I'm still learning every day. And one of the things that's really energizing to me, as I mentioned, is doing these nonprofit initiatives. And one of the big reasons why I transitioned from supporting nonprofit organizations to supporting women is because my passion shifted. My cup wasn't being filled anymore by helping nonprofits. I kind of lost passion for that. Not completely, but my passion was growing for supporting women. So I shifted my focus to something that helps rejuvenate me, um, and taking breaks, um, and setting boundaries. I spent a lot of time reading and taking courses on how to manage up, which is a key skill, especially if you go into any demanding work, is knowing how to say no in a way that won't get you fired and will instead generate respect for you because you are setting boundaries and you're saying, no, I can't do this because I was told that my priority is over here. And if you have me do both, then the priority is not going to get achieved. Um, so just a lot of learning. I spent a lot of time, there are amazing free workshops out there, and fairly low cost books where a lot of tips around managing up, managing yourself and your time are available. And it's not anything I've perfected, but um, taking breaks, and doing things that re-energize you so that you can continue to give to others, has been something that's helped me.
Yes, definitely. I mean, maintaining a well-being is so much important, and like you said, setting boundaries and doing what you love is so important. Taking breaks, uh, these are some things that we often neglect because we are always on the get-go and we want to achieve so much and we want to do everything at once, but um, it will also lead to burnout, and that's not good for our mental health. And like you said, to refill and to re-energize after taking a break is very much important, and that will only add to your efficiency and productivity. So you will come back with a lot of energy.
Exactly. And in the US, I can only speak to the US really. I find that a lot of women aren't aware of their the benefits in the workplace. So that if you do get to the point where you think, wow, I'm struggling, I might be burning out, um, there are other options than quitting your job, depending on the benefits you have. So I put the link in there again to the WIT DC meeting next month. It's virtual, and there will be all sorts of tips shared there on this topic. So that might be relevant to this question that was just asked.
Wow, thank you. You have given so much information to us, useful information to us today. I'll definitely check out that. Okay, so our last question is from Denise Blake. Okay, so she's asking, I am a Salesforce admin and want to set foot in the nonprofit sector. What would be your advice for a successful career in the nonprofit domain?
So if your expertise is Salesforce and you don't already have nonprofit experience, I would definitely start as a Salesforce admin at a nonprofit, and through that role, begin to learn about nonprofits. Um, yep. And from there, you can learn about, as a Salesforce admin at a nonprofit, you can utilize Salesforce to support all the departments in a nonprofit, like all the activities from fundraising to the program delivery, and you can explore the different roles and go from there. So there's, you know, um, lots of options, and I'm happy to connect with anyone on this session. Just send me a LinkedIn connect request, and happy to try to support your career journey.
Absolutely. I think what you said is so true. Just getting hands on experience and working into different departments like fundraising and volunteering and admin would give first an experience as to what you really like and do you really want to go ahead in this before directly jumping into the nonprofit domain. So that's wonderful.
Exactly.
All right. So do we have more questions? I don't think we do have more questions. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, Charisse, for taking time out on your busy schedule and talking to us. We are truly, truly grateful to have you today, and it was such a delightful experience. Um, so this was our closing session for International Women's Day. However, every day should be celebrated at Women's Day and not confined to just one day or 1 month. Our aim for the entire month was not to preach anything, but to initiate conversations that would help change the narrative in whatever way possible. And we will get there slowly but surely. We will be resuming the most loved and demanded Build Your Career in Salesforce LinkedIn Live series from April onwards. All your suggestions are welcome as to which topics you would like us to accommodate. So please leave all your questions and suggestions in the comment section. Also, to know more about our upcoming events, follow us on all our social media platforms and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow Charisse for all the wonderful information and the posts that she puts out on her social media platform. We look forward to seeing you in April with a brand new series. Till then, stay tuned and have an exciting week ahead. Charisse, thank you so much again. It was truly, truly an amazing experience, and thank you for taking the time out. And to
Oh,
our audiences, thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you, Charisse.